Welcome to the first real episode of Animation Pilgrimage.
What are you talking about? Last episode was a real episode.
Yeah, I guess.
It was a really long episode.
Yes, it was a really long episode.
But for those of you who watched it all, thank you and welcome back.
Yeah, but this is the first movie of our journey through all movies. But I guess before we get really started, just going off of some of our announcement, the comments on the announcement video and the first episode, we're planning on watching all of them, guys. We will watch all the animated movies. It's okay. We'll get to them.
Yes. So don't say you don't need to bother writing comments like, oh, I hope you guys watch blank movie. If it's animated and we can find a copy of it, we're going to try and watch it. Now, with that being said, there are a couple of exceptions. And that was when I was looking through the list and trying to find stuff, is I noticed a lot of the ones in the Wikipedia list listed marionette films. And I don't know. Right now, that is something that I think we're going to skip. Unless you guys say no way, this one's super important, you need to watch it. Then I'll try and find it and we'll watch it. But as of right now, I'm going to say we skip those. And then that also kind of leads us into a discussion that we really don't need to have until much, much, much later, is, what do we do about things like The Muppets?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or movies like, where it's 3D, a couple of 3D cartoon characters, and then everything else is live action.
Yep.
Such as, I don't know, Yogi Bear, those two Smurf movies,
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah, what do we do about movies like that? We're not sure at this point, but those won't come up for
a very long time.
A very long time.
So we aren't even going to worry about them right now. But without further ado, let's get into this movie, because I really want to talk about this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this movie is The Adventures of Prince Achmed.
Yes.
What year did it come out?
1926.
1926. You probably knew that because it's probably in the title of this episode.
Or somewhere. I'm sure I've got it somewhere.
Maybe multiple places.
Yeah.
So, 1926. This is
a whole 10 plus years before Snow White.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's really impressive, and I think that's going to be the word of the day when we talk about this film, is just, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, and this is not an American film.
No, this is a film made in Germany, and it's not animated in the traditional sense. It's more akin to a stop-motion film. Yeah. It is a silhouette film done by... directed by Lotte Reiniger. Lotte Reiniger. I hope I'm saying her name right.
Oh, it's a chick.
It's a chick.
Oh, sweet.
Girl director.
Wow, that actually... Because, this movie is based off of 1001 Nights. Is that the name of it?
Yeah, 1001 Nights.
1001 Nights, which is supposedly all being told by a woman.
Right.
So having a woman director, it works. It makes sense. This movie's really good, guys.
It's really good. I highly recommend this. If you are somebody like us and you're into animation history and you've not checked this out, I highly recommend checking it out. It's something that you're going to watch and you're going to be like, wow, I see so many things that have come from this movie. Mm-hmm. So many things that are inspired by this movie. And I'll say, before we watched this, I'd never heard of it before.
No.
I had heard that there were movies before Snow White, but like I maybe only heard the name once or twice and never really gave it a second thought.
I feel like I heard it mentioned once and talked about for like a couple minutes as in a part of like a overarching YouTube video about just early animation in general years ago. But it's like I had like next to no knowledge on this film.
Right, which is a shame that it flies under the radar, because like I said, I think this is amazing. I love it.
And the fact that this is the earliest, like, animated film that you can find and actually watch, and it's this good,
is surprising.
It's like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get a lot of garbage here at the beginning.
So... a lot of Rangager. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have a hard time with the name, but
German names.
Yeah, German name. I think her actual name is Charlotte Ranginger, but she goes by Lotta
Reiniger?
Reiniger. That seems right.
That seems more right, at least.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We might still be butchering that. We should just move on.
Yeah. But just before we get into the movie, I'll give a little backstory on the making of this film.
Okay. This is all new to me.
Yes. So the director is the inventor of the silent film. No surprise there.
Oh.
But... yeah, inventor, or not the silent film, the silhouette film, sorry.
Okay.
I said the wrong word there. Inventor of the silhouette film. She started doing these shorts in 1919 with her silhouette puppets, and she's the one who cuts them all out and puts them together and animates them.
She does all of it?
As far as the research I could tell, she was the one who did all the cutout, all the animation.
Holy
the directing.
Crap. So pretty much most all of this film was done by one person.
Yeah, the best I could tell, this was like a 5-person team that made this film.
Wow.
There was like a person on backgrounds, her husband was in charge of operating the camera, there was another person who she worked with directly on composing specialized music for the whole film.
Because this is back in like the silent film era where you just kind of had music that went along with it.
Right.
You didn't even necessarily have to go with the film.
Yeah. And like I said, this is a husband-wife team, but Lotta was the director and silhouette artist and all that. And this film was in its production cycle from 1923 to 1926.
So it took 3 years to make this.
3 years to make this, and from the documentary I was watching, it was saying that it wasn't like a 9-to-5 job, which is common in animation. It was more like they got started around noon, and then they would end at 1 o'clock in the night. Almost every day,
so that's
working on this.
11 hours.
Yeah.
No, 13.
No, 13 hours.
It's like 13 hours every day.
And they had a pseudo multiplane camera that they developed for this.
I can kind of tell.
Yeah.
Honestly, in a couple of the shots, it's like there are multiple things moving across the screen, but they're moving at different speeds. And you can definitely tell that some things are farther away from the camera.
Right, because they have a little bit of, they don't have as much focus.
The blur.
Yeah.
The blur.
The depth of field is different, yeah. And because of their setup, it was all set up on the ground. So, like, the whole thing was animated, like, right on the camera panes.
Oh, man.
On the ground. So, this was hard work.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else before we start jumping into what the film is?
Let's jump into the film.
Okay. I don't think we need to go, like, scene by scene every last thing that happens in this, but I think we should probably give some broad strokes of what goes down in this film.
Yeah.
So
it's told in 5 acts.
Yeah, it's told in 5 acts, and there are, I would say, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 or 6 main characters that are throughout the most, or like are used the most throughout the whole thing.
Prince Achmed obviously being the main character.
Yeah, he's the main character. He's the one that we follow through pretty much the entire film. There is actually a couple of scenes where we're off with a couple of other characters, and there's one act in particular that's almost completely devoid of Prince Achmed.
Right.
But for the most part, this is Prince Achmed's story.
Mm-hmm. And neither of us can say how well of an adaptation this is to the original fairy tale.
Because we haven't
read 1001 Nights, but I mean, from what I can assume, it's probably fairly accurate, just because of how much it still feels like one of those old fairy tales.
Yeah.
It has a lot of the same shortcomings and pitfalls that a lot of those old fairy tales have, which, that's fine.
Yeah. It's like, even if this is not like a good adaptation, this is still a good film and a well-told story.
And a very well-told fairy tale.
Yeah, for how it's very simple, because it has to be for this medium, and how much limitations are on it, because you're dealing with black on a color silhouettes.
Right.
So
which we should also say, originally this would have been filmed black and white, but the version that we have is a remastered version of the film that was done in 95.
Okay.
I think. So the colors on the backgrounds were added, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Which really does add a lot, but it should be said beforehand that that's the version that we watched.
Yeah, because I don't know if there's any way to watch the original
1926 version of the film. I don't know if it's in circulation at all.
I just want to stop and think about the fact that animated movies haven't even been around for 100 years. That's crazy.
I mean, they will be soon. I mean, we'll be around to see, like, the 100th anniversary of Snow White. That'll be awesome.
Alright, yeah, we have Prince Achmed. We have, and I guess it's all set in the Middle East somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where, but Middle East, I don't know.
Yeah. Ancient Middle East.
Ancient Middle East. If you haven't seen it, imagine Aladdin, because it's the same
fairy tale-esque time period.
Yeah, it's the same fairy tale-esque time period. And fun fact, Aladdin is based off of 1001 Nights as well.
Yeah.
So it's like that movie draws a lot of inspiration from that, and also this kind of by association. So another character we have is Achmed's sister, Dinar Sarde. There's no. It's just there's only one R at the end. It's Dinasarde. Dinar Sarde.
We're terrible with names, but let's continue.
So his sister, the princess, their father, the caliph, who is the sultan, or
the caliph.
The caliph, the dude in charge of everything.
Yeah, the ruler of the land.
He's king.
Yeah.
Then we also have the villain, who is only ever called the African Wizard.
Yeah. I mean, sure, whatever.
And then there's the love interest character, Pari Banu.
Yeah.
Again, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. But she's like the queen of the demons?
Yeah. She's like the queen of the spirit world.
Or something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we also have Aladdin.
Who doesn't show up till like Act 4.
Yeah, he shows up in Act 4 and then he's there for Act 4 and Act 5.
Yeah.
So those are pretty much oh wait, no, one more character.
Oh yes.
The witch.
The witch. Apparently if you're a magic user in this universe, you don't get a name.
No, I mean, you're past such frivolous things as names.
So, and the basic story here goes is that the African wizard makes a flying horse to then take to the Caliph and wants to, like, bribe the Caliph into giving him something. And the Caliph's like, I'll give you anything. And so the African wizard's like, I want your daughter! And then
Achmed's like, no.
That's my sister. I'm not letting this happen. So he gets into a tussle with the African wizard.
Who tricks him into getting onto the horse, and then the horse flies away.
Yeah. Because he doesn't tell him how to use the horse. And then Achmed ends up going on a whole bunch of adventures. He ends up going into the demon world and kidnapping Pari Banu from the spirit world and brings her to China.
To China for some reason.
Yep.
And then there's some, like, maybe a kind of a little racist characters there.
It's definitely some ethnic stereotyping that has not aged well, but,
yeah, but it's actually
not that bad, relatively speaking.
It's like, it could have been a lot worse.
I think it's done fairly tastefully.
Like, this whole movie is done fairly tastefully, especially when you think about the fact this was 1926.
Germany.
Germany.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So, yeah, he steals Pari Banu off to China because she's beautiful and he has to have her.
Right. Which you would think makes this kind of like, ugh.
Main character
really
just kidnapped a naked lady.
Right. But it's actually also done surprisingly tastefully.
Yeah, because as soon as they get there, he's like, stay with me.
Please come back to my country with me.
And love me forever. And she's like, obviously very genuinely upset. And he feels really bad about it, so he lets her go. And then she's like, okay, I'm fine with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best.
Yeah, it's not the best, but
in the world,
it's still done better than what you could expect.
Yeah, and I'm totally willing to put it all aside just for the fact that it's done so beautifully.
Oh, yeah.
That I can just, like, forget the...
Oh, man. Like, there's the whole scene of him just creeping on them while they're, like, taking a moonlit dip in the pool.
Yeah.
It's like, that scene is done so beautifully.
You forget that he's being a total pervert.
Yeah.
But no, like, this whole film is gorgeous. The delicate nature of these silhouettes and just how detailed they are.
Yeah, everything is so intricate. And the fact that all this had to be, like, individually moved around is insane.
And you would think that with how delicate and detailed these silhouettes are, that it would make the silhouettes muddled and hard to read. But no, this film is just meticulous in how it composes its shots, and how it stages the characters. It's so impressive.
Oh yeah, like the staging in every shot is so well done. The silhouettes of every character are so distinct that you can tell who is who all the time. There's never a moment of, wait, was that supposed to be Achmed or Aladdin? It's like, no, you know exactly who it is. Not just from the silhouettes, but the characters hold themselves differently.
Yeah, well...
Like, they actually have character. It's like, Achmed is, I'm a proud prince, I stand up straight a lot, and things like that. And Aladdin is like, no, I'm just a small guy. I'm weak and wimpy and terrible at everything.
Yeah, like, the characters hold themselves differently, and while, like, these silhouettes are fairly realistic proportioned humans too. Like they aren't terribly cartoony. And
I mean, the most cartoony characters are the two magic users.
Yeah.
Where they both have like big noses and
both really ugly.
They're both incredibly ugly. I made a note of like, obviously ugly equals evil, except not, because the witch is also very ugly.
But she's awesome. She's the one who saves them all in the end.
Yeah, she's the one that wins. So,
yeah, she's the hero of this movie, really.
So, more so, it's not evil is ugly, it's more so magic is ugly.
So anyway, though, Peri Banu agrees to help, agrees to go with Achmed, but then she ends up getting captured by the African wizard,
who takes her off to the Emperor of China, and he sells her off.
Yeah.
For a bunch of money, which he then takes that money, turns it into little bat demons, and carry Achmed off to a volcano and slams a rock on him and like, die, I'm gonna go get your sister now.
Yeah, like filled with fairy tale logic here. I kind of love it. And yeah, so now he's like, I'm gonna go after your sister, and he leaves, and then that's when the witch comes by and she finds Achmed.
And she helps him out because she is the African wizard is her
mortal
enemy. So the friend of my foe is my friend, or
yeah. An enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Whatever, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So they're friends now, and she helps him out, gives him some sweet armor and stuff, and they go off to save Peri Banu from the Emperor, who is not, tries to go after her, and she, fights him off, and he gets pissed. So he gives her to his dwarf, his dwarf guy,
yeah,
which is weird. It's like
the story doesn't hold up perfectly. It does have several moments where it's like, this is definitely a product from its time, being an adaptation of a fairy tale and being the early days of film. You know, there are scenes that's just like, yeah, this didn't need to be in here, or okay, this is kind of a little long, we could speed things up a little bit by cutting this part here or there. And this is only, nitpicking this stuff, but, I mean, if I have to complain about something in the film, it is that.
It's just kind of a little long-winded.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous all the way through.
Like, the whole scene where Prince Achmed's in the, castle.
Brothel.
Yeah, the castle brothel with all the girls. It's like, that didn't do anything for the story. I mean, it was a nice scene.
It was a cool scene where he just goes in and starts macking on, these 5 chicks who start this giant cat fight because they're all like, no, I want him.
And they all chase after him as he runs out. And then that's the end of that.
And then he flies off with the horse again.
Yeah.
And then that's when he goes and fights Peri Banu.
Yeah.
But anyways, the witch and Achmed go and save Peri Banu from the dwarf who she has just been married to. They save her before they go to consummate the marriage or something.
Yeah, essentially.
And they're like, yay, we saved you. It's all good. Wait, no, the demons are back.
The demons are back. They're mad at Peri Banu for abandoning them for Prince Achmed.
Yeah, so they capture her and take her back, and they are going to kill her. So
Achmed has to go save her again with the help of the witch.
Yeah, and off they go again, but they can't get in because it's sealed off.
The only way you can get in is if you have Aladdin's lamp.
Yep.
Luckily, Aladdin happens to be very close by.
Yeah, luckily, Aladdin is right down the hill.
Getting attacked by an elephant demon.
Yeah. And so this takes us to the 4th act. We're going... just kind of going through it, but it's the 4th act is just Aladdin recounting how he came to get into this whole mess.
And, I mean, it's the familiar story of Aladdin. It turns out the African wizard was the one who sent Aladdin down into the caves. He got the lamp. He got trapped down there, but then the genie helps him out.
The genies of the lamp, because there's not just one genie with 3 wishes. It's just there are genies inside this lamp, and you can control them as long as you want.
Yeah, as long as you have the lamp.
So he uses that to build a palace and, like...
He marries Prince Achmed's sister.
Yeah, so he marries Dinarsarde. But then he wakes up one day and the lamp, the castle, and Dinarsarde are all gone. Presumably because the African wizard stole them.
Yeah. And then so the Caliph tries to have Aladdin murdered.
Because, his daughter is gone.
Yeah. And then, but Aladdin gets away, and then he ends up finding himself...
He jumps on a boat and ends up on this island as well. Oh, these are the islands of Wak Wak, by the way. WAK-WAK. Wak Wak.
And then, so Aladdin and Prince Achmed are teaming up with the witch, and then they're like, "Witch, please help us. You've got to kill the African wizard
to get the lamp back."
Yeah, so then they have a proper old wizard's duel between the witch and the wizard,
where they transform into all these different animals, which you can see that
Disney took inspiration for that later.
Yeah, is like Disney's like, "Hey, we could totally do this with Merlin and Morgana," or no,
Madam Mim.
Whatever. In the Sword and the Stone.
Yeah.
So they have a big old animal transformation battle, and in the end, the witch wins, and she gets the lamp back. Yay!
Yeah, and Aladdin says, like, "You can have the lamp so long as you help us, like, complete our mission." And then so they go into Wak Wak, and they have a big old fight with the demons. It's a huge clash of good versus evil.
This is evil, and Aladdin sucks.
Aladdin really sucks. He can't do anything.
And the witch is the one that really uses the lamp to the most full potential, and there are some impressive shots of, like, just crowds of demons fighting off, like, white good spirits.
Yeah.
They're just, like, pummeling each other, and it's like, wow, this must have taken forever. This is crazy.
All of the animation in this is super impressive for the time period. Yeah. Like, even not just for the time period. Some of it's just impressive in general.
Like, early on, there's a scene of Achmed walking down some stairs, just super slow and quiet-like. It's like, wow, that looks really good.
There's some, like, really impressive animation in this that just, you almost go, wow, was this like they didn't rotoscope this at all. How did they get this to be this realistic back then? But I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, it's just pieces of paper being slid around.
And they were just figuring it out.
It's insane.
And not all of the animation is impressive. You know, it does have a lot of hiccups, but when it is impressive, it is really impressive. And the bits of animation that really surprised me are the tender moments.
Oh yeah. Anytime it gets, like, really soft and just, like, characters are just having a moment to, like, contemplate each other, just, like, touch someone's cheek. Those moments are exquisite.
Yeah, and as a reminder here, this is a silent film. None of these characters talk. They're all done in paper cutout silhouettes.
It's like every now and again you'll have, like, it'll switch to a screen that just has, like, subtitles of what they're saying. Yeah,
and the dialogue box subtitles are very few. Surprisingly few. They get a lot of this story across without saying anything and just going off the acting of the characters and the silhouettes, which is so impressive.
Yeah, it's like you only have these silhouette characters, and yet you never ever feel lost as to what's going on.
In fact, I think there's even a couple of times where there's a couple of the dialogue boxes that they could have completely taken out, and you wouldn't miss a thing.
Mm-hmm. It's like I feel like some of this is unneeded. We know what's going on. Mm-hmm. You don't need to tell us. You're showing us perfectly.
Right. This is beautiful show don't tell storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. So yeah, after they fight off the demons, there's actually a scene where they're fighting off a Hydra demon.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, like, Achmed's chopping off the heads and more grow back, and it turns out you have to pour the oil from the lamp down the neck holes to stop it. So, of course, the witch is the one that helps in the end again. And after they defeat all the demons, the castle comes back inexplicably. So they
it just floats down, and they all get in the castle, and they fly away back to home.
And the witch is left behind with the lamp, but they seem perfectly happy and like, goodbye, have fun, go live in the mortal realm and stuff. And they go back, and the Caliph, like, they all greet the Caliph, and the Caliph is overjoyed by seeing his daughter and his father, or like his son.
Beautiful scene, like all the character emotions come across so well in this final scene.
And it's silhouettes with no moving faces.
They take time for each character to like, have time to like go back and greet their father, and they're all like when like
he's like, oh, my daughter. He like grabs her arms and stuff, and then Achmed comes up and he like bows down like, Father, I've missed you, and he just grabs him and scoops him up and is like, oh, my son.
Yeah, and and then when Aladdin comes in, he's still afraid of the Caliph and he bows down, but then the Caliph picks him up.
He's like, no, it's okay.
It's okay, my boy.
And like, there's like just like meeting Pari Banu. He's just like, oh, it's nice to meet you, my lady. And
but
stuff.
Also, like, you get this air of like, wow, she's so beautiful. My breath is being taken away, and all this is in silhouettes. Like,
this is all silhouettes. It's amazing.
You could just infer all of this from these little silhouettes, and it just, it's so good. It's just so good, and it impresses me so much because this kind of acting and character design even didn't become standard in most, big name animated films yet for quite a while. This is 1926.
Yeah, and they nailed it.
Yeah.
It's like there are animated films coming out today that don't understand this shit.
Oh yeah.
It's like, this is insane.
Absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, and then that's where the film wraps up. Like I said, it does suffer from the same things that any non-film adapted fairy tale would adapt from, or would suffer from, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, it tells a fairy tale. It tells it very well. And it's not trying to like adapt it in a way that's not a fairy tale anymore.
Yeah.
So there's lots of weird, strange surrealism, which was very popular back then.
Yeah.
Like, surrealism was the name of the game in animation.
Was there anything else you wanted to say about the movie itself? Because I had a few more notes about the director.
I guess, it's just beautiful to look at. Like, all the demons look different as well. It's not just the human characters, and it's like there's
the ornate designs on like
everything.
Pari Banu's feathers.
Yep, Pari Banu has like
the dresses the girls wore.
Oh yeah, I loved that effect of like the girls are all wearing like these elaborate dresses, but because it's all silhouettes, how are you supposed to get that across? You do it by mesh. It's like everything has like just cut out mesh pieces that are draped over the bodies, and so you can see exactly like the designs of all these clothes and stuff. It looks gorgeous. I guess we never really mentioned on it, but like the evil wizard can like transform into animals and other things. And so he like because it's all silhouettes, they can just like replace the pieces and turn into the other things. And it's like he turns into a bat, he turns into a kangaroo in China. Hashtag kangaroo in China. It's really interesting, and it's so good.
Like we said, would really recommend this. But I think I'm going to go ahead and go into a little bit more history.
Okay, go ahead. I mean, I think we've mostly covered the movie as a whole.
So, how do you feel like this movie was received?
I'm going to say either very well or very poorly.
It was a financial disaster.
Of course.
Yep. The person who financed the movie was this banker who just really believed in
animation?
In this woman's work and thought it was gorgeous. And even though it was a financial disaster, he ended up funding like most of her projects throughout her life.
Wow.
And
rock on, Mr. Banker Man.
Yeah,
because most banks wouldn't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, the banker was her husband's father.
Oh, okay, that might have part of it.
It makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
but even still, like, that's some incredible generosity. And then especially considering the politics at the time. You guys
got to remember, this is Germany we're talking about. This
Germany,
is
1926.
Which means soon to be under the control of Hitler Germany within the next few years.
Well, decade.
Decade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Decade and a half or so.
Okay, give him 10, 15 years. But I'm sure thoughts like that are were probably starting to be on the rise. So the fact that they made this film, which has nothing to do with Germany, has no white characters at all.
Yeah.
It's like everyone is Middle Eastern, African, or Asian.
Yeah.
And is like, everything is done so respectfully. Or relatively respectively.
Yeah.
It's like insane.
This film was well received in Paris.
Oh, good.
I mean, yet again, go figure. Artsy film Paris liked this movie.
Oui, oui.
But
magnifique.
But just it doesn't surprise me that it wasn't received all that well, considering how surprisingly sophisticated this story is for animation at the time. And I mean, just like this was kind of beyond people's
capacity
at that point.
Yeah, because most animated things at this point are like Felix the Cat and early Mickey Mouse stuff.
Well, Mickey Mouse isn't even around yet. This is 2 years before Steamboat Willie.
Wow, so like Felix the Cat and like the Alice cartoons and...
I don't even know if Alice cartoons got released worldwide.
No, but like that's just like the level of cartoons that we're at.
Yeah.
At this point, which are not great. Let's just put that out there. They're not terribly great.
Yeah. Let's see. I've got more here. Her and her husband end up moving to London in the mid-30s to avoid Germany's politics.
Good to hear.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's probably how this film survived.
And, well, exactly, because they were afraid of their art being halted or destroyed if they had stayed. And she really wasn't interested in politics. Neither of them were really political people. And she really just wanted to continue making her movies. And most of her movies were fairy tale based.
Cool.
Because she had a passion for fairy tales.
I feel like
said that
this is like, you're just like a reincarnation of this lady or something.
She made over 40 films in her career.
That's impressive.
I think most of these were like short subject films.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I figured none of them are like full length films like this.
Right. I don't know if
Will we see any more on our list?
Right. We might just have to revisit her stuff in our own time. But she did all silhouette. Later on, when her stuff was getting released, through the BBC to American audiences. There was a time period where American audiences were like, this is cool and all, but we want color. And she did some colored silhouette puppetry too.
Neat.
Yeah, and so I'm interested in checking that out. Let's see. Oh, her and her husband tried to move out of Nazi Germany permanently in the mid-1930s, but couldn't because of the politics of the time. People from Germany weren't allowed to move out into other countries. So what they ended up doing is they moved from country to country as long as their visas would allow them to, and then they'd move to another country.
Wow.
Yeah.
The most legal of immigrants.
Oh yeah. But then after World War II was over, animation was seen as still too much of a luxury to be made and enjoyed in Germany. So they officially immigrated to London, where they stayed.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what was her name again?
Charlotte Reiniger, or Lot Reiniger. Reiniger. Yeah.
Put it on the screen. Boom.
Boom!
I'm sure it's been on the screen already, but there. Go look this person up. They sound pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Watch this movie.
This movie, by the way, I was able to buy on Amazon or Walmart or something like that for like $8.
$8 for the first animated film that is possible to find, and it's like top-notch quality.
Right. Yet again, cannot recommend it enough, especially if you love animation, you love the history of animation, or just want to see some beautiful told fairy tale artwork. This is fantastic. And the DVD didn't have like a whole lot of bonus features, but it did have a documentary which I got most of my information from. So it's got that on it as well. I highly recommend it.
Cool. All right. So there, that is first film done.
First film done. So
what's up next, Tennelle? You have the master list. You know what's coming up next. I know there's a few more films that exist before Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but do we have access to them?
Well, see, that's the thing. Is there's been several... There are quite a few films before Snow White. Some of them are only, like, legends at this point because they've been lost. So obviously we can't watch any of those because they're lost.
How about films that that do exist in some fashion that people can still watch to this day? How many of those can we get access to?
That is a good question, because and none of these, I should say, I wanted to point out that none of these that came before Snow White are, like, traditionally hand-drawn films. The ones we would have are either like Prince Achmed, they are silhouette, or they are stop motion.
Okay.
And there's one stop motion that I think we are going to watch next time, and that is The Tale of the Fox. However, I did find a copy of this online, but it was like $30 or $40, and I decided, screw it, I'm not buying this right now.
Yeah, it makes sense. We don't necessarily have the budget for that.
So
if you want to send that to us, we'd be totally cool and watch it. But I'm not saying you should do that.
So I'm gonna try and see if we can find a copy of it somewhere. But if we can't, then I think that means we are going to be moving right on to Snow White. So join us next time where we either tackle The Tale of the Fox, which is a stop-motion animated film from France, or Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
From Walt Disney here in America.
Yeah.
And just a reminder, if we have to skip some films just because we can't afford them or can't find them, if we get access to them later, we will definitely throw them into the watch cycle, and we'll watch them before we continue moving forward as we get these older films that we had to skip at some point. So if, like, in a few months we get access to a movie we missed, we'll watch it then.
Yeah.
And
see you guys next time.